I've been at sea for 4 days now, heading to Guatemala, sailing directly west. The winds in this area are almost constantly out of the east, forcing me to have to sail wing on wing for days at a time. Because of this, the motion is causing the sails to slam, and it has been slowly driving me insane. Alright, instead of sitting here complaining, which is what I was doing before, I've tried to make some sail adjustments. I pulled the main out a little bit farther, which I don't really like because it sits pretty close to my shrouds. So I used the swing preventer there and put it on the outside of the lifelines and pulled the main out just a little bit further. And then on this side, I made a few adjustments and really tried to get everything pulled pretty tight. That way the sail's almost flat. I'm kind of concerned about how it sits there on the spreaders and chafes. Jeez. Okay, take it back. Clearly this is not better. Scratch that. Having the sails pulled out too far was not good. It actually ended up getting the boat rolling left and right even harder. So I've kind of dialed things back in. Seems to be leveling off, but I think that's also got to do with the fact that the sea state's kind of calming down. I need to not put a whole bunch of wear and tear on these sails. We're currently just south of Santiago de Cuba, and we passed Guantanamo Bay sometime last night. I think I'm gonna try to go down for a little more sleep before it gets too hot. It's been a slow day. I've needed to catch up on sleep a lot, so I've been resting most of the day. But I've been noticing that the boat's trying to turn more northwest northwest, and I need to go west southwest. So in order to do that, I'm gonna have to put the head sail on the starboard side and the mainsail on the port side. So let's get to it. All right, now that the head sail's rolled in, we're gonna drop that, switch it over. In the 6,000 nautical miles I've sailed, I've hardly ever had to use my whisker pole for more than a few hours at a time. I usually do my best to try and avoid sailing directly downwind, but now I've forced myself into over a week of this. With that said, learning to handle my whisker pole on deck as quickly and efficiently as possible has become very important. Luckily, over the last 2 days, I've gotten a little better at it. All right, we're looking like we've got everything switched over, so now I can just pull the head sail out. This point of sail is actually pretty good on a broad reach, so I'm so sweaty. All right, that's good. That'll make the boat a little more comfortable for a while, so, and probably go a little faster. You know, it amazes me how far I've been able to go by just raising my sails and pointing Dulce towards new land over the horizon. Without an engine for reassurance out here, it really pulls me into my boat and the environment around me. And because of that, I often learn something new every day. Day 4 is coming to an end. It's another really calm night. I'm hoping the wind picks up a little bit because the sails are smacking again and it's like that. Pretty irritating. So if the wind picks up, we'll be all good. All right, the sun's coming up. I literally just woke up and I'm kind of sailing more north than I would like. I've got like a west-northwest track. I want to be going west-southwest mostly. So I'm gonna have to switch the sail arrangement again. All right, that should be good. While adjusting sail, I noticed some pretty heavy chafe where the whisker pole attaches to the head sail sheet.
I need to figure this out better. Since the head sail was on the starboard side there, that line's showing a lot of chafe right close to the clew. So I'm clearly doing something wrong on how I'm rigging this up. Well, I'm awake now.
If anyone has any suggestions on how I can stop this from happening, please let me know in the comments. I feel like I slept almost the entire night somehow. I don't know if that's right or not. I kind of was just like out of it last night. There's no traffic around here. I haven't seen a single other boat on the AIS for over 24 hours now. I did actually end up having an accident. Not me, but Dacia did. We were running downwind like this, but it was light winds. And I don't know what happened. Maybe things picked up and she ended up turning or something. Either way, while I was down for a sleep, she accidentally jibed. And we were essentially just hove to in one spot for, I think, 3 hours. I didn't move. I just had a military helicopter do a flyby over my head. Of the sails is really starting to drive me crazy. It's pretty much been 3 days of this now, where the wind will pick up enough that the boat's moving along pretty well, but then it'll also raise the sea state and then the wind dies off. So then it's got a little bit rollier seas and not enough wind to keep the sails full. And they just sit here and luff up and then take turns slamming back and forth as the boat rolls on its beam. That combined with lack of sleep and heat, I'm getting a little bit irritated. Also the lack of boat speed. We're only making like 90-mile days when I was expecting to be doing closer to like 140. You know what they say about expectations. The thief of joy. Every single time that happens, you can just feel the whole boat jar from it. So I noticed that the way I've got my, I don't know what I would call them, the tie-down lines, just the outriggers, I guess you might call them, on the pole. The way I have it set up is it comes off one side. So every single time that the sail lifts it and it tenses up on the lines, it turns and twists, and it's putting unnecessary strain. It's probably causing extra chafe on the sheet for one, and then it's putting unnecessary wear on where it attaches to the mast. So I built this other piece of Dyneema, just 2 eye splices on the end. What I'm gonna do is loop it through itself. So that'll sit at the end, and then the bottom will attach to this. So instead of it being off one side, it'll hang at the bottom, and it should just turn this piece and pull down on the spinnaker, pole, rather than twisting it. So see how I've got it attached here? Every time this pulls, it's twisting down. There. Now that's gonna sit tight and pull down straight rather than twisting. Hopefully that's better. This solution has definitely helped with the chafing issue on the head sail sheet, but it still isn't perfect. So it's still twisting a little bit, which is to be expected, but it's nowhere near as aggressive as it was. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm inside. Jeez. Today has been a little bit of a challenging day for me. Not because of heavy weather or anything like that. It's just been monotonous, slow, and a little exhausting. I've been a little overtired. Just the way that the boat's moving. Sailing downwind is one of my least favorite points of sail. I think what I'm gonna do is finish eating my spaghetti I made the other night and then try to get a good sleep. You still here? Is it just me, or do dolphins seem to have this innate ability to appear right when we need them most? This is amazing. It may not appear this way on video, but today I've been struggling. So being greeted by dolphins who played at the bow for over an hour has given me a sense of relief and so much gratitude. If you just keep pushing through without giving up, moments like these will come. And that's what makes it all worth it. Well, I guess that concludes another day. As the sun rose, I sailed west, leaving Jamaica to my stern and opening up the entire Caribbean Sea to my south. Dulce continued to roll hard on her beam, making it difficult for me to rest. This passage was starting to test me. Sleep deprivation, heat exhaustion, and a lot of frustration with the sail slamming were all starting to get to me. But out here, you just have to keep going. So I pressed on. hard to really tell how bad this actually is, but I'm in super confused seas at the moment. And I started to feel like I might have had a little bit of heat stroke coming on. And I don't know, the last hour or something's just been getting to me. So I've wetted these cloths. There's one on my stomach and obviously the one on my head right now. And put them in the freezer just to cool them off. And I've been rotating between another one that's in there just to drop my body temperature. The boat's sailing downwind, but there's a swell every once in a while that hits directly on the beam and knocks the boat over really far. And on top of that, it's doing left and right rocking, and we're going over, I don't know how to describe it. Not fun would be a good way to describe it. The sun's setting. My plan here is to try to get my body temperature down and nap my way through this crappy little section. Alright, see you guys tomorrow. Fortunately, I slowly recovered throughout the night, but I was still having a hard time sleeping. Last night, around 11 o'clock, I started noticing a lot of brain fog. Like, I was clearly fatigued and needed to sleep. So I ended up heaving to, which is, on a full keeled boat like this, what I do is just roll the head sail all the way in, sheet in the main, so flatten it with the boat in a line, and then turn upwind as if you're gonna tack. And tacking is turning through the wind. So if the wind's coming from in front of you, tacking would be switching the sails from this side to the other side, going through the wind. So instead of tacking, I just come up to tack, slow the boat down, it stops pretty much in a way, and then the wind pushes on the mainsail, which is in the back of the boat. Don't look at my weird thumbs. The wind pushes on the mainsail, which tries to round the boat up into the wind, but because it's got this full keel, it has a harder time coming about or tacking, and it just kind of gets held there 45 degrees to the wind and starts getting pushed slightly forward and slightly sideways at the same time. So you end up just drifting with the nose of the boat 45 degrees to the wave, and the boat kind of settles down and it feels really calm. So that's what I did last night, and I was able to catch 5 hours of interrupted sleep and maybe 7 altogether, but I feel noticeably better. I think as the sun's coming out, this storm's kind of fading. That's what it looks like. And with it, the wind. So I'm starting to get more of that rocking feeling again, if you can tell with the water line behind me here. Guess what I just seen fall off the mainsail again? One of these guys. On last week's episode, I found another one of these plastic things that had fallen off of the mainsail. So I ended up having to stitch a patch using an old ripped sail I had on board. They're literally just glued on. I'm sure they're falling off because of this, how heavily the sails are slatting. It's almost whipping them. Now I'm gonna have to make another patch. These plastic things are for an old Dutchman flaking system I don't use. When they fall off, they leave a big hole in the sail. So now I'm dropping the sail to find it. See that? That south swell has been rolling in randomly ever since I got west of Jamaica. It's been pretty annoying. After looking at that hole in the sail, I've decided to cover it with sail tape for now. Maybe when I get to Guatemala, I'll take the rest of them off and patch them.
That's not quite perfect. I'm on to day 7, and now it finally feels like I've hit the home stretch. I just put Dulce onto a broad reach. because we've got some current pushing us north, and we're actually perfectly on a westward track right now, going 7 knots. I am pumped. I'm just under Great Cayman Island, and I'm beginning to get into favorable currents. So the boat's picking up speed, the sea state's kind of leveling off. Everything's just coming together. It's currently midnight, and we are cruising along in a current going over 8 knots.
I flew along the entire night, making amazing time. But the next morning, I ran into a little bit of an issue.
Hey guys, so I'm not gonna show you any of what I'm doing right now, but let's just say I woke up in the morning, had to use the head, the toilet, and it jammed up.
Before you get carried away thinking something I produced jammed the toilet, I probably should let you know that that isn't the case. This thing's old, and it turns out the joker valve, the valve used to stop the water from flowing back into the toilet, had failed. Dried sediment from within the hose backfilled into the macerator, which jammed the electric motor, causing it to overheat. Now you see me taking the motor apart. I can see that the enamel coating on the copper wire has started to melt, essentially causing the motor to short out on itself. In the process of figuring this out, a squall started rolling in, so I reduced sail and hove to. And then my AIS alarm started yelling at me about a cargo ship on a collision course with me.
This is not good. Got everything torn apart. Alright, I need to just put this down.
I had to quickly scramble and put everything away.
Alright, so we've got the AIS alarm going off. I'm trying to fix the head. I've got full main up trying to be hove to, but we've got a squall moving over us. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put this down and sort the boat out.
And as I work at getting everything sorted out, the wind continued to build.
It's starting to rain. Still have the full main up. We're going 8 knots. I wish I was able to capture how hilarious all of that was better. I felt like I was in one of those weird those sailing movies where it just like shows some guy out on the water and all of a sudden all of these stupid things start happening and he's making all of these mistakes and all this bad stuff's going on one after the other. Because I had the whole electric motor torn apart. Everything inside the boat was set up in a way that it was to the starboard side. The head is completely torn apart. The boat had tools everywhere. And I'm out here with the electric motor taken apart. And the squall starts rolling in. So I was hove to, thinking that there wouldn't be a lot of wind from it. And then the wind started to pick up. And as the wind's picking up while I'm hove to, my AIS alarm starts going off, meaning there's a ship on a collision course with me.
After everything partially settled down, I was able to get the head slightly cleaned up and things sorted out down below. But I guess I'll be using the stern head for the rest of this voyage.
We've got about 330 nautical miles to go to Guatemala, so 3 more days. I've got dolphins. Dolphins came to join me.
Out of all of the extraordinary experiences I've had, Dolphin surfing down Dacia's bow waves definitely sits at the top of the list. Watching these amazing animals move through the water will never get old. I have a feeling like they're gone. That little guy just came by at the end there to say, see you later. So I was looking at the sky and the clouds look super interesting to me. So it occurred to me that I have this book that goes over weather observations. It's called The American Practical Navigator. Weather elements. Weather observations. Alright. It looks more like this one, I would say, the most, which says altocumulus semi-transparent cloud elements change slowly one level. And then it goes, our middle level cloud consists of the layers of large ball-like masses that tend to merge together. The balls or patches may vary in thickness and color from dazzling white to dark gray, but they are more or less regularly arranged. They may appear as distinct patches similar to circumcumulus, but can be distinguished by having individual patches which are generally larger, showing distinct shadows in some places. If altocumulus thickens and lowers, it may produce thundery weather and showers. So I suppose there's a chance we get thunderstorms this afternoon. So it seems like those clouds are trying to form up into some kind of rain cloud, but I don't know if I'm just outrunning them heading west pretty quick or what, but the sky has definitely thickened and lowered. Very similar to what that said it would do. So I don't know if that means I'm going to have thunderstorms tonight or if something else will develop. It's always hard to say. As the clouds continued to form up, the wind gradually increased, and soon I was surfing down waves again, going over 8 knots. I think I'm going to put a reef in the main, so my plan here is to roll in the head sail, then I'm going to tack the boat, and then turn myself back, pull the head sail back out, and continue running downwind. I started rolling in the head sail, expecting to have enough drive in these heavy winds with just the main to allow me to tack. I turned Dacia into the wind, thinking I should make it onto the other tack, but it's not looking good. So I try sheeting in the main more, hoping that it'll help. It doesn't. At this point, I notice the camera is now facing the ground. I go and shut it off, decide to jibe instead, and make a mistake. Okay, I just messed up bad. I forgot to tighten up my traveler, and it just broke. I'm on the right side though, so I'm gonna put the reef in, and then, damn it, figure out a solution. All right. Okay, so my traveler's broken, but not completely. Let me get the boat set up nicer. totally my own fault. I didn't have it tight on the one side. So when we jibed, instead of it just going the small distance of the main going from one side to the other, it flew down really hard and smashed on the other side. So this is the Traveler. They have jam cleats underneath here. I forgot to re-jam this side, so when the main shifted to the other side, this swung down really fast and smashed into that side. And it blew this up. I don't know what to do to try to fix that. Give me a moment, I need to brainstorm. I'll come back when I've figured something out. So what I've done here is put it back in its original position all the way to the starboard side, and then I was able to tie it down with this sail tie so it can move a little bit. I'm just getting to the point where I'm making mistakes, I guess. We just need to get there. So now with this reef in, we're going closer to, I'd say, a 5 knot average, which isn't bad. I've been kind of pushing the boat pretty hard today, and it resulted in me breaking apart. So it's kind of nice that we've slowed down. I'm hoping this wind persists through the night. That would be awesome. I can keep the boat reefed. I can probably have a good sleep because it's pretty well and easily manageable reefed down like this. It's steering nicely on its own. The sea state seems to slowly be improving, I would say. Every once in a while there's still a big roller that comes over and knocks the boat about, but that's been persistent pretty much since getting outside of Jamaica. So thanks for watching another episode of me on my way to Guatemala. I'm just about 200 nautical miles away. So next episode, we'll be making it into Guatemala, checking in, and potentially going up the river to Rio Dulce. Thanks for watching.